Right then, folks, and welcome back to me, Dr. Veg FM and Thames FC. If you've not seen the recent episodes, watch those first. It's vitally important because the next sentence is going to spoil everything. We are in the Championship, and of course, being in a new division brings new things as well. Hopefully you watched the last episode, you've seen that we've had a takeover, and it's affected pretty much nothing, really. But I thought we'd kick things off by showing you Ben-Hur, not the film, don't you worry about that, but the 16-year-old Brazilian who has, so far, he's impressed at senior level. We've brought him in for a very cheap fee of around 80,000, I think it is, but we can't get him for 2 years. But I thought we'd start with him, show him off, and then maybe in 2 years we'll see how much he's improved when he's officially my player once he's old enough to join in 2033. It's going to be a while yet. Yeah, but it's 50k, I noticed there. Look, there we are. For £50,000, I think it's a compensation fee, so good. It says he won't be a player for much longer, he will be. But of course, now we find ourselves in this division. You can see there's some powerhouses in there, and if we take a look at the season preview, you can see that Thames this year, folks, not predicted to do that well, but we've been predicted that before. And apparently this is all based on sort of reputation, really, and a few of the transfers. So I don't think it matters too much. And our first game against Rotherham, which is coming up, that's going to be one of the biggest games of our season, and we'll be doing that today. Of course, then transfers to go through, lots of action, none from me there, though, I noticed, in the transfer activity, and we are the lowest ranked team then in the division. I like being the underdog. I don't mind that as long as we don't get relegated. You notice West Ham are in this division, though. I mean, it's tricky when you've got West Ham in your division because they've got players like John Quinn, for example, who... John Quinn, everyone. Lewis Cook down there on 100 grand a week. That's almost double my actual wage bill. But let's introduce you then to some new faces and the joys of being this far in the future. As I can show you the list and you won't know who they are. I say you won't know who they are. That is a bit of a lie. When we take a look at this list, you'll notice one name. But let's first then start with the exits and 2 free transfers. Ben Davies has left the club, a defender that never really featured for me, and the Finnish guy the Finnish guy. Juna Kupanen. That was good, I think. Both left the club, didn't really feature last year, and weren't going to feature this year, so they've moved on. And that's not all, folks. And prepare yourselves here, because on the released players, you're gonna feel something. So Sam Collier, David Collette, both left the club, and then there's a man in the middle. It's Gavin Fitzpatrick, who has left the club and it does not want to come back. And Carlisle have gone for him. Well, that's the biggest insult of all. But Gavin Fitzpatrick then, after spending years and years at the club, is now leaving. Had a very, let's call it what it was, folks, a poor year last year. Maybe the defence in front of him weren't the best, but regardless, 74 conceded in 39 appearances is never good, and only 5 clean sheets from 39 games. That means he had 34 games, folks, that he didn't keep a clean sheet. That's far too many. Regardless of how good he's been and how much we've enjoyed him, we had to move on. We brought him in at Vanarama National level, where he was fantastic. Going into the Championship, though, I'm sad about it, but I can understand why. I'd have liked to keep him as a backup, but his decision was made, and he doesn't want to come back. So there we go. So now then, let's take a look at the players that we've brought in, and we'll do it in time order. Why not? Okay, rather than cost order. And Keon Harris was the first man I decided, yes, this is who we need. Finally, at last, he's my player. And thank you very much to Fulham for letting him go for a absolute pittance of 1.3k. Featured a little bit last year. He's a fantastic backup to Lawrence Smith in that ball-winning role. So I'm going to keep him here for as long as I see fit. 22 years of age, could still improve a little bit as well. So yeah, I think he's been here for such a long time on loan. It was about time we had him. He's played so many matches. He's played 132 matches for me, so I wanted him here. As we move forward then, of course, with Gavin Fitzpatrick leaving, more goalkeepers were required, and Gary Davis at 24 years of age is his replacement. Far better handling than Fitzpatrick, but maybe his all-round game isn't quite as good. Spent time at Newcastle and started his career off at Chelsea. Had a few loan spells here and there in League Two. In League Two, he kept 5 clean sheets in 14 games with 14 conceded. It's not terrific, but it's okay. It's not too bad, and we'll see if he can make the step up this year, of course. We've got him from Newcastle, so he's still a decent standard goalkeeper, and actually played for them. You see that again, he's played for them a little bit in the Championship. 4 clean sheets in his 10 appearances, which actually is pretty good. So we'll see how he gets on. I like him a lot. I think he's nicely well-rounded, and can still improve as well at 24. That's great news. Robbie Edmund. Now, this is a man I'm very excited about. Of course, last season, defensive issues all over the shop, but Robbie Edmund, that centre-back, could be the saviour to all of that. 6 foot tall, on loan from West Bromwich Albion, decent heading, marking and tackling's very good. Mentally, superb. His concentration and decision-making could perhaps be upped, but everything else, very, very good. And I think could be decent. His aerial ability, not the best, but maybe something we can work on throughout the season. But I think to get him in on loan from West Brom is a really good signing. Had a good okay spell at League One Coventry last year. We bring him into us, and I think he's definitely improved over the last year, I would assume. So let's see how he does, and with potential to grow into, he could be here for quite some time if we can continue the loan spells. Kenny O'Neill was a player that's just been brought in for the future. I don't think he's any good right now, but in a year or two with the potential he's got, you never know. I just thought we'd take a gamble on a free transfer who had a trial from Watford. It was that simple. Tom George, striker. Now, I'll break this news now, viewers, that Pat Rodgers is indeed being given a chance by Cardiff City. So Pat Rodgers' return to Thames isn't... It's not happening, is it? Like, I don't know how to tell you that. It's not happening. So it's a bit of an issue for us. Tom George comes in, though, from Blackburn. And I've got to say, looking at him, he's not too un-Pat Rodgers-like. He's a little bit when you get a new girlfriend and they look a little bit like your old girlfriend. And, you know, you keep saying, yeah, I do love you. But you can't stop thinking about him. So this is Pat George. Tom George. Here we go. 4-star current ability, great potential as well. Last season scored a few goals for Billericay. Big step up for him this year, but I think alongside Altidal, he and Altidal could prove to be a mischief for anyone we play against. I think he's a really good forward for us to bring in, so I'm excited to see how he gets on. Now, Adam Beard is an interesting one. Bought for real cash money, £82,000. It's had an interesting career. Started at West Brom, where he had lots of loan spells at Walsall, Coventry, Fleetwood, and then went to Exeter on a free. Leeds then picked him up for a massive fee, but he didn't really feature for them at all since being bought. Wigan then get him on a free transfer. He had a decent year last year in League One, and then we've snapped him up for £82,000. Last year, I never had the option to go to a wider formation. This year, we're training a 4-3-3 kind of system with him on the left-hand side. We're still sticking with the diamond, but I want to have that backup plan. I think he's got pace, crossing, dribbling ability. There's some okay mentals as well, and we'll see how he gets on. But I think he's a nice option to have, and he's not the only option out wide we've got. That said, we're moving to left back first. Lewis Crawford, he comes in then. He looks decent, I think. Good tackling, good marking, crossing ability is good, mentally pretty solid, and physically not too bad at all. Quite a short player, but I don't think that'll matter too much in the full-back role. And he comes in on loan from Dunfermline, which is a bit of a strange one, considering they're not like one of the better Scottish teams, but they've got this guy that they're willing to let go to me in the Championship, which is a bit strange, but I think he looks decent. So, Lewis Crawford, welcome. Mark McLean, disappointing really that Mark McLean, again, we've brought in two centre-backs, the chap from West Brom, of course, and Mark McLean. Mark McLean might be the better of the two, but he's out for this first game with a twisted ankle, picked it up in a recent friendly, so can't feature. Just a bit upset about it, really. A guy that started his career at Middlesbrough has been, again, on loan to loads of different teams, never really settled anywhere. Was on loan to Barnsley in the Championship last year and didn't play for them that much, but we've brought him in, give him a bit of a home for the year, and we'll see how he gets on. Very, very athletic, physically very good, so I'm excited. And then finally, another left-back option, Callum Cockrell-Mullet. We'll probably call him CCM because look at his name, it's long. Probably more likely to be a backup option, but last year we only had one left-back to Martin Welsh, so we needed two left-backs. This is who we've brought in. So I mentioned right-wingers. We'll get to that in a moment, but this is the squad in full. MC Clark. Can we just call him MC Clark? Let's call him MC Clark. He's similar to MC Hammer, so just... You know, MC Clark, I quite like that actually. He's going to be in goal with Gary Davis. We've got two very similar goalkeepers with lots of potential. So we'll see between the two who features more regularly. Lewis Ramsey remains at the club again at right back, and him and James Wolfenden will be our right back options this year. Over at left back, of course, Lewis Crawford and Callum Cockrell-Mullet, CCM. I've just done MC, I can't do more C. That's basically the backwards CCM. Defensively, of course, Andrew Murray is still at the squad. Robbie Edmund on loan from West Brom. We've got a couple of other options with Jamie Wilkinson in there as well, and Oliver Gardner. I think back two-wise, though, looking at it, it's sort of going to be between Andrew Murray, Robbie Edmund and Mark McLean. I think today, if they're all fit, Mark McLean and Robbie Edmund would be getting the starts, but yeah, injuries are a problem, aren't they? In midfield, then, I mentioned before, Lawrence Smith still at the club with Kieran Harris as his backup. Then in midfield, Barry McDonnell, Scott Burgess, Elliot Holmes, Paul Colton, Stevie Foster, players that you're very, very familiar with. And then up top, a bevy of strikers to pick from this year. Altidal's there, of course, he is. Owusu's there. Thomas Hughes can play just behind. We've got Ben Cousins, Tom George, and Josh Tipping, as well, of course, as Adam Bird, who can play on that left-hand side. And with the right-hand side, I could call it an issue. We've got lots of players that can play there. Altidal is actually very good out on this right-hand side. You might not have thought it, but with his pace and his dribbling ability, very, very good out there. So you never know. At some point, if he's not scoring the goals, switch him out to that right-hand side. Maybe bring in someone like Tom George to play alone up top through the middle. We've got ourselves some options now. Ben Cousins can play there, as can Mohamed Owusu, who stays at the club. He's getting... Oh, Mohamed... He's just not as good anymore, is he? He's just not as good. He got 1 goal in 2 games last year. I mean, chalk it up. And in the reserves, by the way, just for those that are interested, Roy Nelson's still here, but not developing at all, so I'm not sure what to do with him at 23 years of age. And Christy Clark-Slocum still here. didn't actually play a match last year, so I'm sorry to everyone that just don't want to talk about it. And of course, Paulo Lozano is also here as well, the Peruvian regen that we've got through. Hopefully he improves a lot this year, but we'll have to wait and see when he starts to flourish in our team. Him and Ben Hur could be great friends. So this is going to be the lineup for the first game of the season. Gary Davis will get his starting goal this year. Wolfenden, Murray, Edmund Crawford, Smith, McDonald, Burgess, Colton, Altidal, George. It's a very similar lineup to what we had last year, but what I've found, and you might be wondering, there'll be people thinking, why don't you do a transfer episode? You've got money to spend, why don't you spend it? Well, you're right, we do have money to spend. £1 million and 16,000 on the wage budget, and there's still time left of the window. The big issue that we've had, viewers, is that no good players on the face of the earth would like to join. The best ones we've got are the ones that are at our club. All of the other players that are remotely good aren't really interested. Like, for example, if we wanted to spend money on, say, this guy as an example, he's okay, but is he better than what we've got? Probably not. And there's just lots of players in a similar boat to him that exist within the line. Like, he's a central midfielder, nearly 500k's worth of money. It's not worth going for. And in free transfers, I've exhausted all of the options, viewers. Our reputation is starting to hurt us in the Championship, which is a bit of a shame. And not only that, we were good last year. Defensively was the only issue, so we're going to try and counter that. And I think if you look at our ability and potential ability, if you care anything about star ratings, you'll look at that and go, do you know what? He's not too bad. So I think we'll have a successful season. This first game against Rotherham, though, is going to sum that up. We had a decent pre-season as well, by which I mean we made loads of money. The sellouts, folks, were through the roof. Thank you to Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham, Liverpool, Manchester City getting involved in that. A 0-0 draw against City, by the way. Let's just leave that on the screen for 3 seconds. 3. Good. And financially, then, we're nearly at that million mark, but I don't think we'll ever go over it during an actual season, but never mind. Okay, Rotherham to come then. We've talked you through the team. Let's get into the action. We have a big squad now. There's lots of players on the bench that were on the bench last year that have been replaced by better, higher quality players. It's going to be interesting. We're going to have to put a defender on the bench, I realise. Owusu's going to step out and Wilkinson's going to go on there. But yeah, the system very similar to as it was last year. Smith's playing a more defensive duty this year than the support duty. I think we're going to need it in the Championship. And this game is going to be the first big, proper test. Oh God, do we not have anyone trained with us? I might as well just get rid of the keeper because... Oh God. Okay, well, maybe we'll try and develop. We need the Peruvian. Hang on, no, it's fine. I mean, Roy now, Paulo Lazar, does he count as one of ours? Move to senior squad. Can he be the backup? Yes, he falls under the category. We're fine. This is genius. But homegrown player at the club. I mean, the best regen we've ever got for this reason alone. I feel a little bit for MC Clark there. I feel bad now. Okay, our first game in the Championship against Rotherham, the team of the Chuckle Brothers. Let's see how we get on. Up top, they've got a Kane, not Harry Kane, but Gordon Kane, which I just like the sound of, on loan from Watford. Looks decent, doesn't he? So how good are they across the board? Richard Bennett at the back. So are all their players better than mine? Is that how this works? I thought this was going to be one of our easier games. I mean, he's in the middle, Tom Newbold. He's average, isn't he? Plummer as well. I mean, they're all right, but are they as good as the likes of Scott Burgess? Oh, he's declining. Oh, Barry McDonnell. Oh, it's looking good. Right, forget that. Get out there and win. Right, I'm a little bit nervous because this is our first game of the season. I've got no idea how this is going to go. I was more confident before I looked at Rotherham's team. I'm not going to lie to you. Okay, let's move some of these around because I feel like we need the bottom half of the table this year. We're ahead of West Ham and Wolves, so we have some of that. Right, first chance of the game, and Smith puts in a crunching tackle. I don't want to say I'm on edge, viewers, because I think that would be facetious, but I'm a little bit apprehensive. Right, well, the first highlight of our Championship campaign in our favour, as we control the ball quite nicely. Of course, possession stats, we were very good last year. I showed it last episode. We were a very good possession-based team last year. If we can take that into the Championship, you never know. As Altidal, look, how will he handle the step up? Of course, as we smashed the post from a few yards out. I'm not sure who that was. Number 88. I can't remember who that is. I did the numbers. I've forgotten who it was. But I am fascinated to see how Altidal does. Of course, we've seen him in cup games. He steps up against the bigger sides, as of the whole team. But can they do it today at home to Rotherham as the ball's cleared? And now the pace of Altidal will cause any team's problems. Do remember that, as we've got players flooding into the middle. Altidal ball in. George is there. Tom George with his first goal of the season and our first goal of the Championship campaign. Tom George slots home. Altidal, it was all about his pace out on that right-hand side. Colton plays it out to him, and there goes Altidal. You can see Thames, that looks looks full to me. I wonder if the whole stadium's full. Altidal plays the ball in, George at the front post nibs in, and lovely old Jobs. What we want to see. 1-0 lead against Rotherham. I didn't even think about that. I wonder what our attendances are going to be against some of these championship teams, especially from a home perspective. Of course, our attendance has not been the best in recent years, as we noted last episode. All right, there's a long way to go in the game, though. The championship can be a cruel mistress, and I guess we'll have to see as George, well, he loses it, but gets back on it, and now Altidal finds George again. Great run from the pair of them. They're combining nicely. This is the first time we've really seen them. We've had friendlies together, but as there's a free kick to Rotherham, maybe their play together won't matter. But Crawford with a fantastic challenge, and Edmund goes in as well, and there could be a break on here. Altidal, I don't know what Rotherham was doing. Altidal races forward. If he can cut it back across, which he so often does, we'll score again. Tom George does it, and what a start to our season in the championship. This is superb stuff from the boys. Great composure from Altidal. What are Rotherham doing? Edward played it across, or Edmund, so I should say, the centre-back played it across. Altidal sprints forward. He's got loads of options there, slots it back, and Tom George, he's second of the game. That's what we like to see, and the Thames boys are celebrating jubilantly. Oh, Rotherham, they've travelled down today from the north, and well, they'll be travelling back up very disappointed. Absolute scenes here, viewers. At half-time then, Thames 2, Rotherham 0, and it's been quite the performance. Very happy with how things are going. Let's keep it up. Oh, this is fun, isn't it? Can we do back-to-back-to-back-to-back? That's the question. No, we can't. Seriously, some of the teams in this division, not even fair. If we do back-to-back-to-back-to-back-to-back, I'll wear a suit for every single episode of next season. There we are. As Burgess goes close, it could have been 3. Okay, and now we're in quite a nice position where we've got two central midfielders on bookings. Not the nicest of positions, but we've got an option now to do something a little bit different. So McDonald's going to come off. We're going to put Beard out there on this left-hand side as a winger, just to give us a different dimension, something we've not really been able to do all too much this year. I just want to be able to mix it up. Like, I do this a lot when I play saves. I like to change it a little bit tactically so the team think that we're playing a certain way, and then all of a sudden we've got options elsewhere, and it works out quite nicely as it goes out to Beard, who we know his crossing ability is very good. Make a first impression. Altidal with a header on goal. Great cross in. Edge with a fantastic save, to be fair. I probably wouldn't have done that change, by the way, if Beard strikes again. 3 times the charm. Burgess is there. I mean, he's had loads of opportunities. Beard's on it again. He's all action. Rotherham have another shot on target, so I'm not overly concerned by their threat. I think to make another change as well, Keon Harris is going to come in for Smith. Keep it fresh in the middle, of course. We've got 5 minutes left to go, but so far, so good. And more importantly, lots of possession, 61% against the championship side that have been here a little while now as Crawford puts it in. George gets his hat-trick to finish the game. That's what we like to see. As I always say, you never get a second chance to make a good first impression, and Tom George has wowed the crowds at Thames today, and hopefully you at home as well. What a performance from him. Crawford with the ball in on his right foot, header at the front post. Pat Rogers, who? Pat Rogers, who? Well, no, don't say that, Ben. Come on. If he's watching these videos, I'm going to feel awful. I mean, as the time ticks away, then it looks as if that might be that. I couldn't have dreamt of it any better. As Altidal, probably a shot knowing him. But what a performance! That's an outstanding performance when you look at it. I mean, maybe us being rated at the bottom of the table. There's a few bookies right now that are panicking. But there we go then. Thames 3, Rotherham 0. A hat-trick for Tom George and a great performance from the lads. That's what you want to see, folks. That is what you want to see. A clean sheet! We got a clean sheet! We couldn't keep any of them last year, but we've got one straight away. Okay, Adam Beard's injured. After all that, 7 days out with an injury. Not ideal. Benchy's chasing Pat Rogers. It's fair to say I am going after Pat Rogers, and I will guarantee, folks, we will see him next episode. Because the next episode we're going to bring you this season is going to be against... Hang on a minute. Because the next episode we bring you will be the Cardiff game. There's Hull in there as well. We've played Hull so much, I might skip them out and go for Bristol City or something. But we'll be playing Cardiff. We'll see how we started off our campaign against some of the bigger hitters. Norwich, Leeds, Chesterfield and Hull, of course, that we're very familiar with. And then Pat Rogers. And we'll be facing. Will Cardiff play him? You have to find out next time. If you enjoyed today's video, though, please do drop a like. Let's aim for 1,000 likes. And if you want to see some more, subscribe to the channel. We love, with care. From me to mention. Until next time, goodbye, everyone. Goodbye. What a game! What an episode! Thank you to the support on Patreon, everyone. So many new Patreons. I'm still working out all the roles. There's more of you than I thought. It's a bloody nightmare. But thank you for the support.